you take something meaty, even if flaccid. You kill it. You take the leftovers. You put them in a hot pot and boil them like crazy and reduce them to nothing. And when they're reduced to nothing, then you can actually make a gravy out of them. That's very much what happened with Pappy, right?
And you have to ask yourself, like, is Test friends or food? Clearly, they're food.
Test friends or food.
I know the food talk is kind of normal, but the cannibalism talk just might be a little much for a family show. Just saying.
Hey, I'm sorry, Arendis. I apologize. We won't do it again.
Hey, no, look, the family show thing is your thing. You've got it on the screen there. I'm just pointing that out.
It's sarcasm for the sarcastically impaired.
It's a classic fucking sci-fi trope, Arendis. You of all people should know this. Yeah. Using other human beings for energy or food is just a trope that pops up all the time.
Let's just let it ride there because cannibalism, it's not just for breakfast anymore.
Cannibalism, an important topic for the dinner table.
Soylent is with a Y, Gamerdad. Soylent Green is people. We were just talking in our family how those old Space Odyssey, Soylent Green, I want to love them because they're like the sci-fi genre, but man, did those movies suck. Logan's Run, slow as shit.
They're really cheesy by today's standards, yeah. Oh and the pacing is bad. But, it's what they were doing at the time.
Mm.
Yeah. And I admit, I only brought up the cannibal thing because I'm waiting for Dawn to say something so I could actually make it into a Dawn Rhea party joke.
Dawn is on a mission from God. She is out there going to rescue her parents.
Miles from Chicago?
Yeah, she is. My mom knows. Half a tank of gas, pack of cigarettes.
Yeah,
dark and they're wearing sunglasses?
Yep.
She's doing rescue service, right?
Yep.
By the way, you do realize that Soylent is actually a make of products, right? Food products.
Soylent Green is people.
It's a great brand.
Not even lying.
Yeah, I know. Matani was drinking that Soylent stuff for a while.
And Arendis, by the way, and Jack just mentioned this, that the new Hannibal portrayal in the series with one of the best actors in the world actually took that whole cannibalism to a whole new level of gastronomy and taking it to the proper foodie level where you are looking at this stuff and you're thinking that looks delicious.
Hey,
okay,
didn't you ever?
Right. I'm just gonna cut you off right there, Caleb, and point out that you're using words like proper and really took it to the foodie level. And how do you expect anything less with Mads?
Well, I didn't.
I'm just saying. It's Mads.
Exactly, but we were used to the PG version where
he was even good in the Clive Owen King Arthur thing.
Indeed.
Have you never
now
seen?
We're going to see him do the Harry Potter thing.
Have you never seen Sweeney Todd? What were they making in those meat pies?
Oh, there's a conspiracy there. The whole cannibalism and Mads Mikkelsen and Johnny Depp. Is there a real life thing happening behind the scenes?
Johnny Depp?
Dum, dum, dum.
You watched the movie? Come on, the musical was way better.
Yeah.
All right.
The movie was all right.
Although it is the only musical I've ever been to where people left at intermission because it was just blood everywhere. It was great.
That sounds actually quite a good fun.
Well, they actually, they would squirt this blood 10 feet every time he slit somebody's neck. It was hilarious.
Sounds anime-esque.
It was, you have to, it has to be,
Dad.
It has to be a lot of,
that was an amazingly great, cheesy, horrible sci-fi movie. Ice Pirates, definitely one of my guilty pleasure favorites.
I have never watched Ice Pirates.
Oh my god!
Do I need to? Does it need to be on my viewing?
It's fucking Robert Urich in 80s cheesy sci-fi. Yes.
All right, I'll put it on a playlist. We're there.
Speaking of anime, and of course,
Yes, exactly. Space herpes. That's where that comes from, by the way, Eric. For the Harpy Fleet.
Yeah.
That's where the space herpes comes from.
Okay. Mafune's here. Are you on break?
Yep. I'm on my lunch. I got a few minutes on my lunch left, so I just thought I'd pop in and say hello.
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 Why, hello.
Nice to have you, brother.
We still have 5 minutes until we can actually talk about Eve. Arendis, have you actually checked out?
God damn it! I got 5 minutes left on my break.
Hello.
Hey, Mafune's only got 5 minutes, man. It's a little inconsiderate.
I was just gonna get Arendis to comment on the new Witcher anime on.
How about we get Mifune to comment on the new Witcher thing?
Yeah.
I didn't watch The Witcher on Netflix. I read the books first, and then I was told that the Netflix series is nothing like the books, and so I didn't watch it.
Well, it's not nothing like the books, but like, you know, I mean, it's The Witcher, so it's kind of like sort of similar-ish.
Yeah, it's been on my list. It's just been very, very far down my list.
Well, what's above it on your list?
Right now, The Expanse.
Oh, good series.
All right, yeah, that's good.
Nobody in my family other than me likes The Expanse, and it makes me sad.
Well, I just finished Altered Carbon a few weeks ago, and my dad has watched both Altered Carbon and The Expanse. So
Season
I was
1 or
talking to
Season
him.
2? Both.
Season 1, because my dad told me Season 2 ain't worth watching, so I didn't.
It kind of isn't really. Yeah, Season 1 is really fucking good.
And let's not kid ourselves. Altered Carbon is one of the best things that's happened in sci-fi since Blade Runner.
Yeah.
I never watched Blade Runner.
The thing I like about Altered Carbon is, like, you think that maybe they might, like, dumb it down near the end. It doesn't. It just goes even more batshit insane.
I like the part that they are trying to do something very Asimov-esque, right? The whole thing of how is humans actually going to deal with technology like this if they got it? Usually it doesn't really portray that well, but I do think Altered Carbon did it perfectly. The whole drama thing of what would actually happen if you could do things like jumping clones and shit like that, and it leads to so many weird things. It's
I don't know. I tend to think that when it comes to the sci-fi, what would humans do with technology like this? The only show that's really gotten it 100% right is Westworld.
Yeah.
Well, but that's only that's only like the really like dark and corrupt stuff, right? It's not.
No, it's not. Stuff. No, it's not. Look, it's really simple. What would humans do with technology like insert whatever? The answer is use it to blow things up or fuck it. That's it.
Exactly.
I mean, he's got a
You
point.
ain't wrong.
It's like a deranged dolphin thing. Okay.
If they can, both at the same time.
And funny enough, in both of these cases, both Westworld and Altered Carbon, it looks like the writers took the whole Arendis approach, right? How can we break this?
That generally is the best way to approach anything, because once you know how it breaks, then you can scale that back and you find your limits and then you work within them.
Gamer Dad says, the main drivers behind the AR and VR is the porn industry. Wasn't that also once the porn industry picked between beta and VHS, it was all over for beta, right?
Mm-hmm. And I'm just saying, for safety's sake, AR is probably the way.
Well, and again, back to what Arendis just said, it's
the viruses you catch probably won't kill you.
Well, you see this in history all the time. The two driving forces of technology is the military and the porn industry.
They're different?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
They're different.
Yes, they should be.
Different kinds of porn. Let's put it that way.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, let's just say that if you are trying to do some sort of CRISPR Cas9 injections, the military would do it in your biceps, the porn industry somewhere else.
Like the song says, the lump. The internet is for porn.
I almost just went to YouTube just to pull it up and start playing it in the background while you guys were talking, but you were too quick. You killed it. So, the first time I saw that, it was like a World of Warcraft dance video. It's kind of sad.
Yeah. Yeah, the Oxheart video.
So, yeah.
Oh, Wolfen just pointed something interesting out. I don't know if he meant this, but the fact that the military might also be one of the biggest consumers of porn. That's a nice little.
It's full of
there,
people.
Right?
People.
Well, it's full of soldiers and
it's full of people. You don't really have to divide it any more than that.
Yeah.
When you really think about it, when you're watching your porn, you also have the FBI agent in your webcam watching it with you, right? So I mean, he isn't wrong.
So if anything,
the
the
FBI
numbers
isn't
watching,
military.
if anything, the numbers watching porn is actually double what you think it is.
Right.
So does that mean that when we are watching porn, we're actually providing a service to the Phoebes?
Sure, why not?
Yeah, it's a co-op kind of.
Co-op.
Symbiotic relationship.
Oh my God.
We are now at 21 minutes past. We are allowed to talk about Eve.
I think that they should. That there ought to be a law where if they're monitoring you as you're watching porn, they got to chip in for the subscription.
Yeah, they should.
Makes sense.
Sometimes when we think about these things, I get a little more scared.
Yeah, sometimes when I spend any amount of time at all in my own head, I get a little bit scared. So welcome to my hell.
All right. Well, I have to head back to work, so
all right.
I'll catch you all later. Have a great show.
Take care.
Thanks,
on
Booney.
time.
Nice to have you around.
Be sure to take. Oh, okay, he's gone. I was going to say, be sure to take those particular topics back to work with you.
Yeah, I have one thing that Dawn and I were talking about before you guys showed up.
Uh-oh.
She said that when she goes to Wendy's, she's on the chicken
party.
Yeah, she goes to the chicken side of the menu because she's afraid of square burgers.
No, I said I was afraid of square burgers.
What?
But
still.
But now I'm so ingrained on getting chicken at Wendy's that I always get the chicken nuggets. They're good.
Square burgers. So my question was, anybody else afraid of square burgers? No. We're good.
Not really, no.
Yeah. So it's are you afraid of square pizza?
Well, no. I mean, afraid of square burgers. That's just ridiculous. I'm sorry, Don.
Yeah.
Then how do you eat them? From the side or from the corners?
I mean,
yes.
What do you do if you're confronted with a sack of 10 sliders?
You eat them.
Well, yeah, you or I would, but she's afraid of square burgers.
I know. That means White Castle is out, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, it is an irrational fear, so it is a phobia.
So Dawn has a phobia now.
Fair.
She's gonna kill
us.
us.
Should be a phobia.
She's gonna.
I'll eat a Wendy's burger, but I don't want to. I want the chicken.
This is like people who didn't who thought the quarter pounder was bigger than the third pounder. But I did ask Dawn if she would order me a Wendy's triple, no mayo, lettuce, tomato, extra pickle, ketchup, mustard.
But
she said no.
You could just drop that stupid imperial system, right, and come into the modern age like the rest of us.
Really? You're gonna go there?
Because if you had given that in grams, that would never have been a problem, right?
I mean, we could drop that imperial system, but
What would
is
that
that
make you special?
Horrendous? Is that the new name for the Moab? The imperial system?
All right.
No.
Eve time.
Eve time. We need a hammer time. We need an Eve time intro. That's what we need. I got to ask for one of those.
We have Wobble time.
Wobble time.
Wobble time.
I love Wobble time.
Yeah, Wobble time's a video.
Freedom units. That's right, McSquid.
Is anything happening in here? The new player experience thing came out.
The new player experience thing came out, and it came out. It came out on Sissy, and I broke it.
You broke it.
Broke it.
Nice.
Yeah,
there was an MMORPG article that came out.
There's some fundamental problems with the way they're doing it. It's all heavily scripted, and the scripting can be broken.
Absolutely.
And once you break it, it is completely unrecoverable.
Unrecoverable.
Yep.
All right, so I'm over here looking at the old Eve Offline. I see a end of war boost, followed by what I see as a gradual decline over the last couple.
Well, it's an issue of Horde and NC Dot and PanFam have gotten back home, and so they're not logging in as much anymore.
Okay. Just want to verify that.
I think Brave have gotten where they're going to. I'm not sure where Test is yet.
Well, Moomin would like to know, Don, if did you ever get your Rorqual from Villy?
No.
Is it yours, or it was just a bet that he lost? Which one was it?
It wasn't a bet. It was him trying to tempt me away from the Imperium early on in the war.
With a free Rorqual?
Yeah.
He's like, honest question, Don, will you mine with us in Delve? I'll give you a free Rorqual.
How cheap can
one
you be?
Rorqual?
Oh, what? He was going to give me a
Who the
Rorqual.
hell uses one?
I was like, I already have two.
I barely mine. I don't even like PvE, and I have 5.
I gotta say, Moomin, you can't really claim that one as a Villy lied because Dawn obviously didn't go mining with them.
So someone in chat said, "Hey, look at the newborn player graph over the past year. That section." Yeah, that kind of sucks.
Yeah, on that, Renus, do you think because of course you broke the NP, but that's your job, but what did you think about it, and do you actually think it's going to do anything?
I think the initial scenario that you find yourself in at first is really pretty. It looks good. It introduces some bad moves, and it would be great for a single player game. Like, just it creates some it gives misinformation that other players will have to correct. Like, at first you get told, at one point really early in, I shouldn't say at first, you get told to quote get in warp formation, and all you have to do is basically drive over to the guy and you get fleet warped, except you're not actually in a fleet. So that is likely to lead to some confusion from actual new players who then think that they just need to drive over to somebody for a fleet warp or something. And it's a bad habit to get into, giving people the wrong information. Otherwise, like, it looks really interesting, but it's basically a rehash of the Drifter scenario, where you start off, you're outside a ruined station, unknown enemies destroyed it because my technology, and then you have to deal with that shit. I understand that they're trying to keep it current with the events going on in the game, and that they're trying to use this, and that's why they cycle out the old scenarios every so often, and that they're trying to use it to introduce the new air, whatever the hell it stands for, group that is basically redoing the skill queue. But they need to just settle on what do we want people to be doing at first. And honestly, the new player experience isn't the problem, and it hasn't been the problem for a few years. It's everything after that. The new player experience finishes up and dumps you into mission agents, career agents that haven't been touched since 2008. I mean,
yeah, this is like what, third or fourth attempt to do something when it comes to new player experience stuff, and it just feels like they're banging on the wrong door, right? It's
well,
like, this is not your problem. It's not solving the whole what to do next. What is progression like in Eve, and what is the next step when you have learned basic
right,
interface stuff, right?
right. I mean, I like the way it. I actually do like the way it slowly unveils the UI. Like it introduces UI elements one piece at a time. So you've got the chance to say, oh, okay, this is something new. What is this doing here? As opposed to just, here's your UI. You need to understand all of this, because that really, the Eve UI presents a lot of information. It just doesn't necessarily do it in the most helpful ways. And, it takes time to learn how to deal with the UI. And so I like the way they're presenting that. I just don't know that it needed a whole new overhaul of everything else to get there.
It
I
feels a
like
little bit
that
more
it's
like a
got
tech demo, right?
Yeah.
I like that you can share skill cues, so that way
Yeah,
it's a little bit easier than
that's
telling
definitely
a
going to be
newbie
good.
like buy this, buy that.
Right. That's definitely going to be a good thing, but that didn't need to be part of a new player experience. Like they could
Well,
have
I mean, where else are they gonna
introduced that.
fucking put it?
They could have just overhauled skills. I mean,
Well, that's what they did, or they're trying to.
right,
Like,
but at the same time, I mean, think about it. An overhaul of skills. They could have just said, "Okay, listen, the Magic 14 that we openly tell everybody you should train all of these. You know what? Just screw it. Give people those skills. Let them do the skill plans, and you don't have to do that as. And by the way, we're overhauling the new player experience as well. I mean, it could have
so you just don't like that. That's not the focus of this particular
No,
thing.
that's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is
I hear bitching over presentation.
what I'm saying is
instead of
the skill plan thing could have been done 6 to 8 months ago with no fucking problem. You didn't need to wait for all of this other development for the scripting and how to get the UI come out bit by bit, and it didn't need to be held up for everything else. It's its own thing. It's its own change that is, in fact, a significant and good change. It didn't need to wait.
And this takes me back to when they brought in something like communal fits and then just left them hanging. There's just so much potential in those ideas if they finished them and integrated them together. So you could have, instead of this whole communal fit, you could maybe have public alliance fits or anything like that, right? That would show up in when people wanted to look for specific fits, right? But the point is that should be something that could be submitted and managed in a way that then integrates things like what is the required skill queue and link like contracts, so you could also use it for big organizational stuff, but also for big business stuff.
Yeah,
you can do all that.
Yeah, you already.
But they're not integrated together, right?
Not together yet, but
like the contracts are not integrated into the skill queue, no. But they don't need to be because it's a skill queue.
Yeah, but
you can say
all of these things together, right? They need to think them into a modern UI and spend some of the dev hours on stuff like that instead of, because contracts is again one of those systems that have not really been touched for.
Contracts does need to be overhauled, yes.
And they are horrible to use and horrible to search in and horrible to create, right?
And when they do overhaul the contract UI, which hopefully they will do, hopefully they will do so in a way that updates it to a more manageable UI like the skill queue has become.
Because it feels a bit like Frankenstein stuff, right? We had the Eve Gate, which kind of was a good idea, but then they removed the in-game browser, so that thing died. They have a contract system. They have the HyperNet. It's like all these things feel like Frankenstein that have not been sewn together yet. It's like it's just disconnected. It's like these things need to be all in the same
what they really
way
need
of
to do
feel
is
and
just
UI and be intuitive and be easy to use for the player base, and it's just not.
I mean, if they're going to like at some point like redo the contract system, which I really hope that they do, like if they integrate the ACLs into it as well, that'll be
Right.
that'll have like revolutionary kind of applications.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking they should make kind of like an agency window for finance and industry.
Well,
because the agency window is amazing.
Hopefully, they can make it better than the incredibly crowded and cluttered agency window. The agency window is probably the agency window is probably their second worst UI element right now after the new Eden store.
I find
half the stuff doesn't fit in it. Like you got these like sort of invisible scrolling kind of areas.
Yeah,
like
that's true. They do need to fix that. I think that part of that problem is they didn't plan on the ESS tile when they made the agency, and that's one of the few ones that you do have to scroll over to find. But I think the thing is like,
but they could have just done a second row of tabs,
or make the picture smaller.
But that's the thing. Like when you develop this thing, you should develop it and know that like you need to develop a degree of expandability into it.
Yeah, you've got to future-proof this shit.
I mean, I wish they had promoted the agency uses much more than they did, because I feel like a lot of people miss out on how useful it is for finding resources or combat sites.
They basically when they unveiled it, they basically blitzed use the agency for everything for like 6 months.
That's true.
But the
reason people don't.
I don't feel like they explained it very well.
Well, that's the thing. They didn't explain it very well, and it's cluttered as hell. I mean, so yeah, they blitzed. Yeah, listen, you should use this thing, and people went, okay, well, what the hell is this? And stopped using it. I mean, they already had ways to do this stuff.
Yeah, but I use it a lot now for various things, and
if we got a robot at dawn.
Yeah,
we're losing her.
So while we're dealing with that, chapter 65. You asked, what about multi-box players? Like, what about them?
To be able
to what's the actual question there?
Find ice belts before you go anywhere, since ice is all fucked up still.
There's ice in this game?
Apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Dawn can't find the ice maker. That's the problem.
They make them, if you want to be ridiculous, right? In my Facebook feed came up an advertisement for an LG refrigerator. Not that we need a refrigerator, because we don't. But I'm looking at these refrigerators, and they make the ice balls too for your fancy drinks, right? I'm sitting there going, $7,000 for a freaking refrigerator? Jesus Christ!
Yes, and Dawn is slowly trying to phase back into the conversation.
She is, but we're usually
Chapster. If a player can single-handedly do 7 accounts to manage all aspects of a gate camp, I don't know that it should be considered good play or bad play. It's just, it's kind of like tie-dye. It's terrain. It's just what's out there. As far as I'm concerned, I have no way of knowing whether or not everybody else is one person or 15 billion, so I don't care. I just have to react to the shit that's around me. I mean, if you're gonna worry about what everybody else is doing, you're never going to be happy with anything.
This is true.
Just do you.
I'm getting some lunch, though.
You're getting some what?
Lunch.
Oh yeah.
What are you ordering?
Oh, lunch.
that came across a bit differently.
I'm a Panda Express.
All right.
What I'm getting from that, Arendis, is that you are evolving your real-life philosophy into the area of solipsism.
No, it's not a question of solipsism.
But it sounds like you're pondering it, right? That's
No.
the next logical step, whether or not
No,
all these
solipsism.
billions of people are real.
Solipsism is pointless. You have to look the world around you. Okay, like let's take the solipsistic viewpoint. Okay, that I'm the only thing that exists and everything else is just a creation of my mind. All right, doesn't matter. Everything else around me is still what I have to interact with. So just like the whole issue of free will, I might as well act like it's real because it doesn't matter if it's not.
But this is how you should approach the question about bots, right? And whether or not it's real people or bots. Does it
there's
really
a difference.
matter?
Well, it's a difference between the issue of multi-boxing and the issue of bots. You know, those are two different things. But no, it doesn't matter. It just react to the universe that you have to react to.
But what if you choose not to decide?
You still have made a choice.
Mm.
And the people at the gate camp don't really care of what you think about them, whether they're bots or multi-boxers or individual players. It doesn't really matter to the event, right?
That is true. It also feels like Eric's joke went way over your head.
I think so.
Wasn't a joke, man. Those are some prime lyrics. What are you talking about?
I know. Well, okay, not a joke, but Eric's reference. All right.
Hey, I got completely flabbergasted.
And again,
the other night
it is music lyrics, and you are never good with music lyrics, Caleb.
Wow, shots fired.
Unless it's Europop.
No, you are never good with music.
We all know that Caleb is a big K-pop fan. We know he is.
There have been extensive conversations in certain meetings on Thursdays about just how little you know about music.
Wow, that's just so racist.
What? Racist? What?
It's just because you guys are all punks and metalheads, and that's just not my flavor of music.
Excuse me. I'm like, Billy Joel, Rush. Get out of here.
Yeah, dude. I mean,
metalheads.
I'm sorry, Caleb. I like groups like
all my best friends are metalheads.
Johnny Cash, Billy Joel,
Johnny Cash,
Guar.
I love the fact that you said groups like, and then you mentioned single artists.
My kids love Sinatra
because neither one of them, like neither Johnny Cash nor Billy Joel, performed alone very often. All right, I mean, Billy Joel's early albums, for example, are nothing without Liberty DeVito.
Absolutely. By the way, the first city where Billy Joel performed and the audience sang his lyrics back from was?
Not a clue.
It was at the Syria Mosque. He was opening for the Doobie Brothers in Pittsburgh.
Nice. I really should have guessed it would be Pittsburgh since it's you.
It's my wife, like when we were first married, I'd be like, hey, what is XYZ, right? And she'd be like, I don't know, right? Then she quickly learned the answer is always Pittsburgh.
Yes.
My kids, I don't know. My kids just came down one time and they were playing Sinatra, cleaning the kitchen, and I'm like, dudes, you guys like Sinatra? And they're like, absolutely, we love Sinatra.
No, Wolfen, I'm not feeling old yet naming these artists. I started feeling old when I was 22 and made a comment about something while driving my sister somewhere, and her response was, "Who are the Beatles?"
Wow.
A response that'll get horrendous mad, like, from 0 to 100.
No, it really wasn't.
Really?
It made me feel old, but I knew she was doing it specifically to make me feel old.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then you don't want to react to that then.
Right.
So this is similar to how you must have felt when you started seeing clothing shops.
I mean,
retro
keep in
Nirvana
mind,
and Guns N' Roses t-shirts.
That was just that's fine. The retro thing that annoyed me was the retro 70s stuff that came up in the 90s. I lived through the 70s. I never want to have to do that again.
You make it sound like you were a Nam.
Well, car-free Sundays and shit. It was like Nam.
You know.
No, I wasn't in Nam. I was dealing with disco and bad hair.
Disco and bad hair. What about 80s hair? That came up today on my Facebook friends group.
Mullets need to just go away.
We were more in reference to women's 80s hair. Big hair, big curls.
Yeah, that. Like at the time, nobody really noticed that it was horrible, but like, as far as women's hair goes, I will definitely take the late 70s Farrah Fawcett feathered look over big hair.
Well, but seriously, it was not so much the hair that was the problem. It was the fact that what was becoming fashion for females seems to be either a complete, ridiculous cubist version of power dressing, or someone that is like hobo level can't dress themselves. Like, what clothing piece goes where? It's like, seriously, look at some of the very early Pat Benatar stuff. Like, do you know what kind of clothing goes where?
That was intentional.
Of course it was, but it's like, okay, if you want to be punk and edgy, well, not being able to dress yourself is not really the way to be that, is it?
It's going against the man, dude.
I don't really think that was intended to be punk.
Yeah, no.
That was to be pop star.
Like punk was like, Sex Pistols, who were very much still grounded in the greaser fashion of the 50s. Like t-shirts and leather jackets was anyway.
T-shirts and leather jackets.
Gamer Dad, I'm just gonna say right now, yes, obviously, Jesus Christ.
Oh my God, Wonder Woman, baby. She did a show when she was older, and I'm trying to remember. I mean, this was a TV show, so it wasn't like risque, but somehow it was following women who had gone to do one thing and then posed for Playboy. Okay. And Linda Carter was the one who did that. And then she was ostracized by everybody, right? But the real point of that story is not necessarily the movie. It was like she was much, much older. And I was just sitting there going, I think she's better looking now. I mean, she was an amazing, amazing woman.
She aged very gracefully, yes.
Yeah.
And I admit, I'm gonna totally date myself with this one, all right? But like Eric and obviously Gamer Dad will probably appreciate this one. Okay. Wonder Woman, fine. That was set pieces, and yeah, obviously she was hot there. But Linda Carter, Battle of the Network Stars. Oh my God.
I do not.
Really?
No.
Jesus Christ!
I don't know what I don't know how I Battle of the Network Stars. I don't remember that show or any of that.
All three networks put up teams, and they basically went through like American Gladiators type crap.
Oh wow! We'll have to see some old YouTubes of it or something.
Well,
Yep.
You definitely missed out, Gamer Dad.
My dad and I were talking at dinner last night. We go to dinner usually every Friday with my parents or my wife's parents or somebody. And he said, hey, do you remember the woman who played Samantha in Bewitched? And I said yes. He was going over him and who was it? Barbara Eden. That was my dad was
Elizabeth Montgomery.
Yes, Elizabeth Montgomery. He was like, I like those two. I'm like, thanks, Dad. It's completely out of context, but it works for the show today. So there you go.
Ooh.
Yes.
Caleb. Horrendous.
What?
Any predictions for how they're going to change scarcity to not be scarcity anymore? Are the rocks just going to get bigger?
Hey, it's pronounced scarcity.
I'm predicting there will be some there will be some sites intended for rock walls. There will be some that are intended to not have any rock walls. The rocks may get bigger. I think the big thing will be that they'll increase. They will definitely increase the amount in each rock and the number of rocks and anomalies, but that's going to be something that you're going to have to build up with iHub upgrades, I believe.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to set it up so that we use fewer rock walls by making the rock wall itself far more of a support and command ship than the premier mining ship.
Yeah, and added to that, we do have a bit of inside knowledge on what is most likely to happen.
We do?
Arendis mentioned the whole anomaly revamp. It's like they have to fix anomalies, including fixing ice anomalies, but that's a different story. But from what we can tell, they're going to remove old static void belts completely. They're going to fix the modifiers on systems, and they're going to add something to moon mining. So moon mining fixing, anomaly rebalancing, removing void belts, and adding capital anomalies, right? That's really what we're going to most likely get.
Well, I also expect that we're going to see the introduction of the industrial conduit jump. So
you really think so?
I think amazing. So. Yeah. I think that's
It'd be
really
amazing as a Oracle to just like, whee.
Right, but I think that's the big thing that keeps people that kept people feeling like they needed to go the distance to invest in rock walls was the mobility. You have to get to all the moons. So if you don't need the Rourke to get to all the moons, or if you don't need 20 Rourkes to get to all the moons, if you can do it with one Rourke wall for every 30 miners, then why would you need to put all that extra money in skill training in? Especially if the Rourke wall itself isn't out mining your exhumers.
It completely makes sense to make Orca and Rorqual what they're supposed to be, again, support ships for the actual mining operation. And that would also validate bringing in big sites that need to be worked by moderate sized fleets, right? So I think that will be the solution that fixes almost everything in that regard. But they need to nerf the Rorqual completely. It should not be a mining ship. It was never supposed to be a mining ship.
I think it can. I think it should be able to retain the ability to mine on its own. It just shouldn't necessarily be that good. I think it should basically come in slightly less effective as a miner than a maxed out barge.
Well, I would be okay with the capacity of mining very well fitted Hulk, right? A single one. So because of course it's a higher investment ship, so it being able to do that alone as well would actually be almost
if you can mine as well as a well fitted Hulk, then there's no reason to bring the Hulk.
Well, there is, because the boosting, right?
Why?
Well, if you
the Hulk
solo
the small amount of boost you're getting overall is not worth the extra effort of I have to put the stuff in the Rourke wall. the Rorqual's got so much more storage that it would continue to be the premier mining ship.
Well, the point is that the OP effect should come from the boosting. It should be proportionally what makes you always want to bring barges, right?
Well,
yeah, there's so many more like mechanics that you could add in there that will add like a lot of utility and like, you know, reason to bring multiple kind of or multiple kind of mining barges and that kind of thing. Like honestly, like I know we're kind of like I know we're sort of talking within the realm, within the bounds of what we have at the moment, but like, you know, there's capability of making new stuff.
I just think it's fair if something like venture size gets almost tripled in yield speeds, right? And all your barges is like doubled, then the fact that the Rorqual Solo can do one barge is not a problem at all.
If your boosts are tripling the effectiveness of your subcaps, those are the most powerful boosts in the game by 2 orders of magnitude.
Yeah, but again, on a capacity level, it basically just takes your venture up to a small unboosted barge, right? That's fine. That's not a problem.
But here's the thing. If the boosts are doing that much, if mining boosts are doing that much, why aren't other boosts doing that much? You have to be consistent in your game design.
I don't think that's required when we're talking a boost like this, because usually you get those variables on hulls, and they don't exist on hulls or mods. So the fact that you get them from boost and actually incentivize fleet formations for mining would be healthy for the game. I don't see a problem with that boost level.
I think the more you encourage inconsistency in game design, the sloppier they're going to be. I mean, I hate to phrase it this way, but think of who you're asking to do this.
CCP?
Yeah. That's the problem. Is that you don't have a track record of, yes, we can do special cases and make that special case perfectly balanced with everything else we're doing. We have a track record of the special cases break the game.
But it's splitting operations, right? It's taking all the stuff that you could do with one Rorq or like 3 accounts running 3 Rorquals. You're taking that and basically pushing it out to incentivize. That should be done by 10, 15, 20 accounts instead to be efficient. And I think that's exactly where we need to go with this.
Well, okay, but
I like the idea of an industrial conduit.
I don't see how you're making that. I don't see how super boosts for mining is making it so that you want more accounts doing stuff.
I mean, do you guys know the mining boosts now, or are you aware of what the boosts already do?
Yes.
I mean, I figured you probably were, but like, you go from like 100 plus seconds on a Hulk to 39. So you're already getting into those levels of numbers. So I don't really think you need to change the boosts much at all. They're already really fucking good. Because it's like maxed out at 60% bonus. It'll be fine.
Eric,
right,
now John asked about speculation toward the changes that'll undo scarcity.
Yeah. So what about him?
You, Eric in the chat.
Oh, you, Eric in the chat.
Yes.
Oh, that Eric. Sorry. I was like, why are you asking me?
Anyway, I got to take off. I'll catch you guys later.
Later. Have fun at your meeting.
Always a pleasure, dude.
Super secret squirrel stuff.
I just love that Kenneth Feld, as we were talking about earlier this week, is jumping in front of the industry changes again. Or not industry, sorry.
Feldustry version 2.
Yeah, but we can't call it Feldustry. What would we call?
Why can't we call it Veldustry? Does he not have thick enough skin?
No. I'm saying we can't call his economy changes Feldustry.
Why not?
We got to come up with a better name.
Well, it's fine. We call it what McLeod just misspoke. We call it Veldustry. That's fine.
Part 2.
Ooh, Veldustry. Oh.
Or Veldustry, yeah.
Yeah.
Because Veldspar is not actually pronounced Veldspar. Now, is it?
Isn't it not?
No, it's Feld. It's Feldspar.
What, with an F?
Yeah, it's a VF. It's
a
German thing. And so calling it
Veldustry
actually works.
Yeah, Veldustry.
Brisk said that
it's Veldustry.
Veldustry, yeah.
Brisk said Rain is going to scream at somebody.
The whole thing of I don't know what it is with Pappy and the armchair developer stuff with the whole thing of trying to claim development from CCP. Gobbins pretty much also did something similar recently, right? When on his was it State of the Union thing, where he was basically claiming that he had a huge feedback on what on the whole scarcity thing in the first place. Like, why are you trying to own CCP's work, especially when they keep making mistakes? If you want to own something, do it like Brisk and Dunk. Own things that are actually good for the game. Own the whole red dot and own T2 salvages. Like, that makes sense. This is good stuff. There's nothing negative about those things at all.
Yep. But that makes sense.
Right? Don't hold CCP shit. Like, you do not want to own any of that. Because okay, don't get me wrong. I love this game and I love CCP for making this game. But they are notorious for making changes that everyone looks at and go, oh my God, this is going to be great. And then when they deliver, it's like, well, this is not finished, guys. Why are you giving this to us in this state? Like, come on, finish it. Because, Mac, by that standard, right, if there was anything recent that you would want to own, it would be something like the changes with the introduction of Upwell structures. Except when you look at that now in hindsight, it's like, okay, I don't want to own this one. Thank you very much.
Yeah, they kind of fucked that up.
It's such a good idea, right? And the whole thing of node control by player build structures that are skin in the game. It's like, oh my God, these things are just amazing ideas. And cities in space, and then they just don't really deliver something that does that. It's like, come on, CCP, you need to balance this and fix it so it actually becomes this amazing thing that it was supposed to be, because it is groundbreaking and completely novel in the MMO industry.
Groundbreaking. Hey, who won the war? Who won the war?
What war?
Who won the war?
We did.
Oh, okay. Just checking.
You know, one of the interesting things is there was an article in MMORPG kind of recently that had it was kind of funny because it was like, oh, got an interview with like CCP, and we were like, oh, here we go. You know, what kind of choice, kind of what hot takes are we going to get out of this? And an actual fact, CCP, who was it? It was Berger Finn Borgerson. I can't remember who that was. What his CCP his dev name is.
Dev name. His dev name. That's all.
Yeah, his dev name, like
CCP Burger. I'm being told.
Okay, CCP Burger, right? Like, he actually had a really good take. Like, he said, I think with many things we won't properly see. You know, it's going to take a few weeks, a few months, possibly years to really see what unfolded in the last few days of the war. like in the last month of the war. But I don't think it's as simple as a taxation change. To that caused the end of the war. I sure hope it's not as simple as a taxation change. I truly believe it is a combination of a lot of things. So, like, I'd have to give CCP Burger props because, he's got his big brain working really well there. Because that is definitely the case. It wasn't just a taxation issue that caused the downfall of Pappy. It was a whole bunch of other shit.
I'd argue the taxation issue had zero to do with it. Sorry, I'm not believing.
Taxation changes literally just, Villy's kind of excuse.
It's a perfect excuse because it sounds reasonable, except that's literally not the reason, right? And again, I'm not going to defend the taxation changes or the ISK stimulus stuff that they threw in there because I think it was horrible and the worst idea ever. But definitely the tax changes had nothing to do why the war ended.
Yeah. It was the dumbest.
It was just the nail in the coffin.
Kind of.
It was like the last splash that just made them go, "Oh, darn it," and then flip table, right? And then look, CCP did it to us, right? They did it with the servers. They did it with the tax changes. We are martyrs of the war.
Yet when we went north to glass, fucking Tribute and all that shit, we just decided that we didn't want to carry on doing this because we didn't have the stamina to carry on doing it, right? Or at least that was what was claimed according to the other side. It has nothing to do with fucking drifters suddenly coming in and shitting on all of the different structures that we have in Delve. Nah.
So since you've been reading outside news sources, maybe you can also give us a little bit of an update because now we just poo-pooed a little bit on CCP. Well,
no, I was praising CCP,
but just to give a little bit of maybe an update of how other games have been faring during the past many months. I seem to have noticed a bit of drama of failures coming out left, right, and center, right?
In one of my favorite of companies, Blizzard. Do you mean?
Yeah. Blizzard have been managing to hat trick that stuff, not just failing once, but failing and failing.
It's like they want the gold medal, silver medal, and bronze medal of being utter shitheads.
Well, if it was okay, again from business perspective, this would smell a lot like the actual execs and owners had suddenly put in a lot of short positions on their own company and then start releasing all this crap. Okay, I'm gonna make a fucking killing.
Dawn is just
breaking up like motherfucker. I didn't hear about.
Oh, there we go, Dawn. Oh no, this has been an ongoing thing for a few weeks actually, Dawn. It's the whole controversy around Blizzard and their practices, their staff practices.
Boys.
Yeah, the boys. Yeah, all the boys club stuff. You are breaking up like crazy though, Dawn. Oh no, she's still going.
Yep.
Super delayed because you guys respond 10 seconds after I say stuff.
Well, that's because we only hear your stuff in small broken segments.
This is true.
We have to pull it all together.
Yeah, she was saying something about square hamburgers.
I think so.
35, 40 minutes ago. I think Dawn is trying to use some of that Triglavian weaponry, which is notorious for using singularities, which does weird things with time, right?
The Triglavians have triangle-shaped burgers.
Oh, yes.
Hey, did that fix it?
Yes, it seems to have, to some degree.
Sometimes when I move different internets, it still tries to connect to the old one. So,
Gotcha.
Yeah, that does suck. Like now.
Yeah.
So, Wi-Fi to... Nothing, go ahead.
Did you die again, Dawn?
She's dying.
Oh, Jesus.
We're coming up here on September here in the United States, coming toward fall. Pretty soon it's going to be time for warm alcoholic beverages. I hope you're all looking forward to those. So.
Oh, for sure.
Are you going to be introducing some of them on the show? All right.
I might drink one. Yeah, I mean, my favorite is mulled apple cider and a little whiskey with a.
Do you mean hard apple cider?
No. It's regular apple cider. It's mulled, and you throw some whiskey in it and a cinnamon stick.
So everyone who's not in America, that's what Eric means is mulled apple juice with additional whiskey into it.
Yeah, no. Apple cider.
Yes. No.
But,
we've had this conversation before. Like alcoholic, apple juice is called apple cider by basically everyone else apart from seemingly America. But you seem to want to refer to it as hard cider.
Now, apple cider is different than apple juice.
Okay. So why do you refer to cider as hard cider then?
Hard cider is different.
So what's hard cider?
Hard cider is alcoholic.
Alcoholic.
Hard cider is alcoholic.
Mm-hmm. It's fermented apple cider.
Okay, so what's apple cider for you? What's the difference between apple cider and apple juice for you then?
Apple
cider is using the whole thing. It's got pulp and it's got skin and everything in it. Apple juice is like super filtered.
I'm pretty sure that as soon as you call it cider, it's no longer just juice. It's not just pressed. As soon as you call it cider, it has been fermented to one degree or another.
Yep.
That's how everyone else sees it.
Even Swedish cider that is very, very low on alcohol is like 1% or something like that. 1.5%.
No, we can give this to
still
children.
Cider. It's being drunk as if it was juice because it's so weak, but it's still cider because it's been fermented.
Well, you can't give fermented things to kids, so nope.
Yeah, we'll do Eric will record a trip to the apple cider press, and we have one just down the street.
I mean, it doesn't mean that it's not wrong.
No. No, apple juice, the primary difference is it tastes completely different.
Just because you've all kind of decided on this lie to carry on this lie doesn't mean that it's not bullshit.
I get it. Let me go check when the cider press starts operating. Okay. Let's see. Actually, you actually, to get unpasteurized apple cider, you got to sign a thing.
And pasteurized as well. Okay.
Yeah. Let's see.
But I was right. I know the difference.
What is
the difference is apple cider is where you pulp and mash fruit into a juice of some kind, right? Apple juice is the same process, except for they strain it to remove all pulp and everything, so it's just the liquid. Yeah, that is the difference.
When they do cider in a cider press, you can't use, like for juice, you use apples that are unbruised and all that stuff.
Yeah,
when you do cider, you're using the bruised apples. They're just washed. And you throw them in, it mashes to a pulp. I've seen them do it 100 times. And they put a layer of it down on top of some sort of material. And then they put the next one on top. They pulp it, next one on top. So you have 10 or 12 layers of pulped apples, and then they actually put it under pressure and press the cider out. But it is not as filtered as apple juice either.
McLeod, please help me. These people are doing mental gymnastics on the fucking Pappy degree. It is cider if it has been fermented. It needs to be fermented. That is the definition of cider. It needs to stop producing alcohol.
No, I literally looked it up. I went to Google, typed in difference between apple cider and apple juice, and those were the actual differences.
Look at the definition of ciders. Ciders.
Doesn't really matter.
It does matter.
It's not like I grew up down the street.
We're not talking about clear or rough juices, presses, and whether you're using
Caleb, in the U.S., you cannot give children alcohol at all. So no, because you can give kids apple cider. No, you cannot have it fermented at all.
You do realize that like Google just basically when Google kind of like puts that like little blurb thing, that's basically just from the top result, which is a US based, website.
It's an international.
Yeah, clearly the US based website that believes in this shit is going to say what you guys think.
Maybe you guys ferment your ciders all the time, but we don't. So your definition is still not correct.
Yeah, we would ferment it in college. Throw a couple raisins in it, and you're good.
This is why certain. I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go that direction because that direction is just fraught with terribleness. But like, oh Jesus Christ!
Hey, I'm just saying, man.
Does anyone know how to stream your Switch to Twitch?
I mean, probably a lot of people.
Well, because I want to, but I don't really know how to hook them up. I'll look it up.
Yeah, I got to see when they start the cider press. We'll get a little vid. Little vid.
This is where it starts, McLeod, by calling it a cider press.
It is a cider press.
Yep.
It's literally a juicer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why are you calling it a cider press, of all things?
Because you go there, it's the cider press.
Fuck's sake.
It is true that it is required to press the juices out to make a cider, because then you need to leave it alone for a while. But it does not really mean that the name means that as soon as this stuff comes out, it's now cider.
Eric,
it's like if it was called it's like if it was called a Marriott press because it was made by Marriott, you'd all be calling it Marriott. Like, what's coming out of it, Marriott? Like, no, of course fucking not. It's apple juice, for fuck's sake.
Dude, it's a cider press.
Like clearly, okay. Like let's just drop this because like clearly
they also make. By the way, they make apple cider donuts too.
Yeah, it's called apple. It's called apple donuts.
Nope, it's very different. Sorry, there's no chunks of apple in it. No more Eve talk now.
I'm just going to let you in on a little secret, right? You do know that when you stomp wine, it does not actually come out as wine yet. It's not wine when it's been stomped. That's just juice.
I'm aware.
We know.
And then you add things into it to ferment it.
Well, you don't really need to add that much. I'm sure that the natural yeast can handle most of that. But yes, you let it
that's shit.
You leave it to fucking rot.
That shit that's between your toes that you stomped it with. Yeah, I know. All that toe jam and shit, That'll help. That's some tasty wine there you're making. Yes. We know how to ferment things, but apple cider is not fermented in the U.S.
You mess up your language so much. It's crazy.
Well, welcome to America.
Where real English happens. Not them fancy words over there.
Over there. The problem is when you then show up over there in the old world where we've used these terms for quite a while, and then you insist on pushing your new definition on us. Like, well, that's not. If you want to order a cider in the old world, you will get something that's fermented. I guarantee it.
Yeah, we don't really. You're not really going to go and order apple cider in a restaurant. It's not going to be something that's generally carried.
There's your
Okay,
other
that's fucking
mistakes.
funny.
Like
That's just fucking hilarious to me.
Because we know
Because that is something that I do regularly in restaurants and in bars and all sorts of things.
Does anyone want a free motorhome? There's one broken down over here. I feel like if you fix up the engine, you could take it.
Say what?
We don't know what you're saying.
Motor coach.
Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah, we haven't a clue. We don't have a fucking clue what Dawn's saying.
Well, Brisk did a joke and he said it was funny. Did I miss it? Stomp Pappy and wine came right out immediately.
that is actually true.
I do like it.
But we almost covered a similar joke when we talked about gravy, right?
Gonna make a super gravy out of you, man.
And we did. We reduced them, boiled them, and reduced them, and they came out gravy. There
like a nice balsamic reduction too.
Well, they did come out a fond first, right? But we still use that to make the gravy, or we will use it to make the gravy. Really. Also, Brisk, we shouldn't really steal your jokes, right? Because you might want to reuse it in a few hours.
True. Your joke was funny, and you should reuse that.
Oh, we have Meta Show today, right?
I fucking hope so.
What are they going to talk about? Brisk, what are you guys going to talk about? Someone read it to me.
We didn't have a meta show last week, and that was really annoying. And I think maybe one or two people might have told Brisk that was not a good idea.
Well, Mittens and them were all getting like high as a kite in a sex dungeon or something. So
you don't know that. You don't know that.
Sure do. I had an inside spy telling me about it.
Well, I think Mittens might be in a changed mood because apparently he's also had the chance to do the first real Eve meet in an age. There is actual documentation of this, and he looks hammered as fuck.
He passed out. Yeah, he's sleeping on somebody. I'm now stuck in traffic. I just want to be home, guys. Just want to go home and play some Pokemon.
Well, I think the sex dungeon might need to be toned down a little bit because, again, documented that he literally injured himself. So.
Well, hopefully CCP starts coming out with more changes to provide more things to chitty chat about, because
well, they're going to make
now that
you
the war's
happy,
over,
Dawn. They're going to give you many of the things that you've been screaming for quite a while now, and it will most likely be done in a way that's horrible. So I will be screaming again the other way and saying that they are now breaking it completely in the reverse.
See, what I want someone to do is go through all of the videos from the past year and find the clips of hubris from Pappy and just clip them, like Billy arguing with you about war bonds and how he said the line will provide if the Alliance asks for it. And he's like, no one would do that.
Oh, you're dying again.
I know. You know.
Anyways, what you're touching upon is basically what our high priest Moon says, right?
And then what shot?
Can you hear us?
I don't think she can hear us. No, she just gonna keep on. You know, I'm really tempted. My daughter and wife just came home from the football game cheerleading thing, and I'm watching her on my phone here, and I'm sitting there going, I just want to embarrass her and play the video of what she did approaching the Google Nest as she came up, but we'll have to maybe next week. I'll have to render it. It's kind of funny.
Well, I think what Dawn was trying to imply and talk about or hint at was the whole thing from Moomin, from the prophetic nature of truthiness, right? But it's a fact that past is prophecy, and we just need to collect all of it and basically take it out and do the whole "we told you so," right? Because we did. We've been telling these people what was happening and what would happen for almost 18 months, and they just ignore us.
Yeah, exactly. Is that better?
A little bit, yes.
All right. I'm on the highway in traffic now, so
In Heavy Metal Thunder?
no. But like, I just want to take all the different clips of Billy and all them saying all this bullshit, and arguing with us saying like, no, this is what's gonna happen, and they're like, no, and just clip them all together.
No. Briss says we should all talk about the skill changes.
We already did.
Mm-hmm. You're late.
Where were you, Briss?
He was bathing, most likely.
Like it. I like the changes, and as long as they can modify it whenever we find something broken or not working, then I think it's good. Someone was trying to like bitch about like, this is only good players, and I'm like, but whenever we have a new doctrine, it would be really nice if we could link a skill plan for people to get into that doctrine ship, so it works for alliances and corps as well.
No, we did not, Briss. We did not talk about Eve for the first 20 minutes. We kept to the rules. Well, almost kept to the rules. And we did definitely not talk about any of the things that you were hinting at. We only covered that when Arendis was talking about the NPE and the new skill system and the fact that you can share skill queues.
I like it.
Yeah, it's decent, right? It's just, to me, it feels like a lot of dev hours spent on something that I don't think is going to give return on investment in any meaningful way.
You'd be surprised at what small changes can actually do in the long run. Because there's...
I'm the biggest supporter of small changes. That's not the point. The point is, as an NPE and solving the problem of retaining players, I don't think this is a solution. I don't think it really matters that much. It's the handing those players over from the early weeks to what are you going to do after that. And I don't think this helps.
I think it will really help, because I know when I first started it, the skill plan was like, how am I supposed to know what skills are actually useful for a missile ship? Because not all missile skills say missiles on them.
I just think everyone is missing the point. The thing that is broken when it comes to progress and feeling that there is a need to continue has nothing to do with UI mechanics or skill queues or even catch-up mechanics. It's all about the whole onboarding process and what can you do next. And that thing got broken way back with Feeder Corps, and when everything has become this binary skipping culture. Players are skipping the next logical steps in the game because the game design has kind of removed it. And that's just bad, because then you don't feel like there's a reason for you to play. It's all about the fact that changes over the last 5+ years have devalued a new player. They are completely worthless in the grand scheme of things. They are not needed. No one really wants them except for the social stuff. So until CCP figures out how to give value back to new blood, we are not going to see good retention numbers. That's just the way of a sandbox game like this.
What game do you play where new players aren't valued?
Well, I'm not talking about you valuing new friendships. I'm talking about the value in the mechanics. It's useless.
There's huge value on more bodies to do things. We just had a war that proved that. Like more bodies is
But
better.
that's the rarity.
on
That's
average.
the outlier. The whole N+1 thing is not really a valuation. And valuing you as an F1 monkey is not valuing you as an active player or active participant.
And then those people will start hearing about, oh, we need more boosters or saber bubblers, and it gives them that goal of something that they'd like to do in the fleet besides being an F1 monkey. Like, there are tons of people like myself who absolutely love being Logi and do not want to learn gun seals if we can help it. And anytime we do a fleet that doesn't have a Logi in it, it makes us cry. So
yeah, again, I'm just going to revert back to the Feeder Corp event when we started seeing that, and we started seeing megacorps and permanent coalitions. What happened was that instead of having very, very aggressive recruiting, it basically flipped on its head and became gated recruiting, where you have to go through certain hoops and fill out questionnaires and do background checks and stuff like that. It basically got automated and it inverted completely. Before that, when you wanted to grow and be a successful corporation or group in EVE Online, you were aggressively recruiting. You were really putting in the man hours and the legwork. After Feeder Corps, that completely went away.
That's a different argument, and I can agree with you on that.
It's the related argument. It's the fact that
because of that,
now it's not new players are not as valued. You don't have scouts sitting there in newbie systems aggressively recruiting new players and trying to strike them up in social interaction.
Well, that's not true, because I got spam. Every time I make an alt, I get spam. No,
spam is not a conversation.
No, but you're conflating a little bit of I get your points now, but the way you're describing them or labeling them is confusing. Your problem is that the megacorps, as you said, have flipped recruiting standards and practices. That now you feel like devalue the new player. New players are highly valued in those feeder corps, especially. The problem is that you don't like these giant corps, kind of removing that first step of finding your first high sec corp, or maybe you join a low sec corp as your first corp because you ventured into low sec and somebody killed you, and then you got to talking to them, or
you're skipping all the experiences of the game. It's
right. That's what you don't like.
It's quite horrible, because that means that you enter into stuff like nullsec policies and procedures without any personal experience at all. That means that you get a skewed look on how things work in the game, and it's just a mistake.
Now that's, players are going to player. Is that a failure on the game design where high sec and low sec play is so boring or broken that going to null sec is more interesting away?
It's a design problem. It's not the players that are doing it. It's a design problem, and it's because CCP has made it so skewed and possible to skip all these things because they've undervalued them and not iterated on them and fixed them. So when you're removing the ability to, say, grow organically in, say, high sec, like the example you used, or migrate slowly into low sec, or start trying to experience or experiment with things like wormhole space. But that's all skipped now. People get in within 2 or 3 months. They are basically being shipped down to nullsec. And of course, then they will start doing alts and stuff and then fill out the rest of space. It's just, it should be the other way around.
I started in high sec. I had a very organic experience, but I understand that some people, a lot of people I know did just like that are newer, just bolted right down to nullsec because they heard about the wars or the big battles or whatever, and they kind of miss out on that early gameplay. Because some of it's been so game to death that you kind of end up with an established group, and there's no like figuring out phase for a lot of stuff now, because some of it is too complicated, and it's just easier to get with an established group that knows what it's doing, right? Like incursion groups. When they haven't changed incursions themselves in years, correct?
It's been quite a while since they've touched that. But again, it's really about the skippability, right? If you're talking about, say, comparing this to how a lot of MMOs that are older allow people to like skip past all the early gameplay
The
stuff,
tutorial
that's
stuff.
fine. Well, it's not just the tutorial, but also the following of old zones and stuff like that. You don't need to play in those areas anymore. You can basically just skip straight to a certain level and then start playing newer patches and content, right? And skip all the old stuff. And it's very similar to how Eve has progressed, that you can skip through the old ways of building up yourself in Eve Online. And I understand that, but then you have to repurpose it, because otherwise it's just this dead vestigial thing. And where are you going to allow new players that don't want to get involved in nullsec policy to actually then play the game? It's like you've created yourself a catch-22, and you've basically broken the mold by allowing all this catch-up mechanic. Everyone wanting to get into a Titan, everyone just going to null, everyone being able to skill point inject themselves into Rorquals. Like, all these things were supposed to be a slow, gradual process where that's my next goal and my next goal and my next goal, and I need to try and do a 20-man corp and then a 50-man corp and then a 100-man corp and see them fucking fail or succeed. It's like they don't get those experiences, and that's half of the fucking point of the game. And if you skip those, you're basically just feeding nullsec policy stuff. And then if that's the case, CCP needs to design the game even more towards nullsec policy content, not less.
I want to give CCP a little bit of props, because, like, in hindsight, you know, the early Triglavian stuff, the emerging conduits, and some of the sites and stuff. Well, the actual mechanics in the sites definitely lacked in something. The idea was nice that they did provide, like, when the emerging conduits came out first, you would see small groups figuring out how to do them, whether it be maybe an individual with his buddy, 2 or 3.
Okay, let me just address something that's being mentioned, and people are attacking me. Why are you?
And they were, figuring out how to do those.
Okay, are you having problems with internet again, Dawn?
No, maybe.
Anyways, I was just trying to address. People are criticizing me for saying, "Well, what's bad about skipping bad content?" Well, this ties into the whole thing of what makes you a retained player. And I know it's controversial, but this is really about the whole gambler thing, that it's the gambler's fallacy, right? Where you are so invested because of the bad experiences. Gambling addiction is not driven by winning. It's driven by losing. That is actually what keeps you gambling. So it's the same with playing MMOs. What keeps you playing the game is the small failures that and the invested time that means that you have to play again and again and again. And I know I'm not supporting making gambling addiction a part of MMO play styles, but that is how the psychology works. And skipping those is exactly why you're seeing this bad retention, because if you don't have those losses and you only have this abundance win and just gradually get everything like this Monty Hall thing where, okay, you can skip through in 3 months and 6 months you are in a Rorqual and then in a Titan, done. Then the players will say, okay, this was kind of boring, and potentially leave. They're not going to retain players if they give them everything for free. It's just not fun.
That's 100% correct. There needs to be an element of failure.
Why is Imperium one of the most powerful organizations in the game? Because they keep failing upwards. They keep failing, rebuilding, fixing their stuff, coming out in a stronger, new Pokemon evolved way, right? This is not even the final form. And that's the experience of playing Eve, going from both on a personal level and on a social level failing a bit, rebuilding and reinventing yourself and joining other people to improve what was missing. And that is the growth that gives you the success. And that's also why you amass both experience and wealth, and that becomes your sunken fallacy stuff. This is why you can't really quit, because there's always a new thing to reach. But if you get that for free, it's just not fun.
I like Nevin in chat. It's like, does Eric ever speak? Sometimes it's not about me talking. It's about everybody else talking. And no, I don't have a Tinder account. Sorry, I don't. I assume swiping right, it means something, but I don't know.
You know who has an OnlyFans account, though?
Darth Mo, I did buy a new golf club this year. I bought a new driver, and the I'm trying to say this so I don't get in trouble. The golf club shaft was more expensive than the club itself.
Shafts are always more expensive.
Wow, Dawn, you went there.
What? He said it.
Grinder, then. We do have fun on this show. So, yes. Yeah, it is. Well, we're using the launch monitor, and we were trying to use every option on the club shaft that was cheaper than the one I ended up having to buy. But the launch monitor doesn't lie, folks.
So
15 yards and more accuracy matter.
15 yards is significant. That's 45 feet. So
yeah,
I understand on that choice. But
no, it's actually thinner, but it doesn't twist. So that stuff that makes it not twist when you swing is what makes it expensive.
So Kayla brought up Goon Swarm rebuilding because we fail all the time, which is correct. If you need to clear your space out of useless buildings, but you're tired of hearing crabs bitch at you about that, just hire Pappy. They can glass the whole thing. It may take a while, but have them glass everything, and then you rebuild and tell the crabs to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, 14 to 16 months, is all it takes them. So
it depends on the size. Maybe 2-3 months per region. But so we've got these new zones coming up, and Caleb, we talked about this a little bit on Thursday. They're the Goon Economic Zones, or GEZ.
The GIZ zones? Oh, the GIZ zones are going to be great.
No,
they're going to be very popular.
So we asked Kumi, who's kind of like one of the heads of this. We're like, Kumi, why didn't you name it the Goon Industrial Zone for GIZ? And he's like, sorry. He's like, you know what? We're really tired, okay? I'm like, I saw that joke in 5 minutes. How did you not get this?
Well, it should be really two names, right? The productivity, the product economic zones, which is the PEZ, and then the GIZ, right? So you got both.
Oh, that'd be even better.
And yes, Mother Delve seems to have been completely healed, or all 4 regions are actually, at least on the TCU level, fixed. So the beach is no longer cluttered, and I'm waiting for initiative to start populating it.
McLeod, can I come up there and mine ice?
Of course you can. It's Imperial space.
Yeah, but, it gets, hairy and you have some bad neighbors.
Oh, yeah, that's why you keep apprised of the intel channels.
Yeah, but are you going to save me if I come up there? Because that's the difference here. I can't hop in initiative comms and be like, help me. Yeah, but I can't jump in there and be like, help me, save me.
Yeah, you should be able to.
What initiative comms?
But aren't the Beach Boys supposed to be going on some sort of operation soon, Mac?
I have heard that some special interest groups are starting to fly out towards the Outer Passage area to poke and prod people. Did you know Tess just got to their house?
They only got there.
They literally hitchhiked across the United States, with their ragtag bunch of group. That's
Oregon Trail.
No one wanted to pick them up off the side of the road because they kind of looked ratty and nasty. But they've made it. They've made it there. And they found that the cabin that they rented to try and get there is missing part of the roof. And they're going to have to take a little time to build it. But they only have a couple months to be there. And then they got to move again. So
this is what I said a while back. I might not have actually said it on show, but if Imperium had hurried, they could actually have done a whole welcoming
we could have beaten
on
them
the
there.
location. They could have gotten there earlier and be basically saying hello and welcome, and I hope you enjoyed the Oregon Trail. Now we're going to kill you.
That's it.
Well, there is the question of Dawn mentioning the time frame, right? Which is kind of interesting because if they're there on borrowed time, what are they going to do after that? And again, keeping up steam on the test is next, and well, giving Pappy a little bit of a memory cake and reminding them of what they did wrong might actually be a little bit hard because 3-4 months out, is there going to be that much vengeance left?
Oh.
Burn them down.
Well, we got to let them build something to burn them down. Make them pay some money into some stuff. You know, they want to brag about picking up 14 keep stars. I'm like, you brag about running away as much as you want, buddy. Go ahead. And then on Tuesday, they try to make something about us being blue with PBIC or whatever it is. And it's like, none of us know what they're talking about. And then they have the audacity to tell a Diplo to go talk to our Diplos. That was like the most surreal thing to listen to on Tuesday. I thought it was hilarious. Just Dirk's, like, you could hear Dirk's brain just stutter to a stop. Like, what? Did you just tell me to talk to Diplos? But I am a Diplo. I'm very confused.
I don't know. It's kind of crazy.
They don't really do much background checking in the Pappy org. I know that they claim to have super executive spies, but they seem to actually not know who anyone is in this game, and that's just the hilarity of it.
Do you know who I am?
You're the queen.
Do you know who you're dealing with? Do you know who I am?
Oh, let's see. Outer Passage. Test has put up iHubs all over Outer Passage, it looks like. So they're getting there.
Somebody was on Mind One stream saying how we're part of the Blue Donut now.
Because they think we're blue with PBIC. Which we're not. McLeod, could you go down to AOM space and entosis it?
So this is the really funny thing, right? If they want to entosis like AOM space, they can go and entosis AOM space. Like, I'm not gonna fucking go do that for them.
Oh, are you trying to get do you think they're trying to get us to attack AOM as like a show of like, yeah, see, we're not blue together, and they'll be like, yes, please do all our work for us.
Yeah, exactly.
you know, Frat is hankering to come down, but I think they're a little gun shy about it.
Why would we want to give AOM reason to shoot us when they have all the fucking reason in the world to go and shoot Frat?
They're not going to go and shoot Frat. They're like half the size of Frat. Why would AOM even stick their neck out? The only reason why AOM is still in Esoteria is because they don't want to move any closer to Frat. And so they're hoping that we don't attack them, which they're lucky that they're not higher on the list right now. But,
so what you're telling me is that the whole AOM NIP stuff was them trying to do really bad reverse psychology bullshit psyops?
Really bad psyops, yeah.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Have we yet regained all the territory that we lost? It took 14 months to lose. Just checking. Asking for a friend.
Yeah. And it's being divided very nicely. So Initiative and Bastion are in Fountain.
Mm.
And then we have TNT, Goons, and Lawn in Delve. and PLA, but they're a corps. Sorry, and then and I don't know where Ranger Regiment's going. I don't know if they're gonna. I think they might just be crashing with Dracarys. But Dracarys and Siberian Squad own a third each of Quirius, and then Goons own a third. But I think that's more for logistics and jump bridges versus versus us actually like being there all the time.
I want Cloud Ring. Can I have Cloud Ring? Just me.
You can go talk to Tri about Cloud Ring because Tri owns Cloud Ring, and Tri is going to find it not being very fun. What the fuck was that?
Cloud Ring is an annoyingly awkward place to fucking.
I love Cloud Ring. It's where I started my goonishness.
I had a bug crawling on my arm, and it was terrifying.
Bug? How big was it? Did you take pictures?
It was huge.
Did
it looked like a giant ant, and I just and flicked it off of me, and I don't know where it went.
So you know what that means, that right?
It was like almost a half-inch long. It was terrifying.
When you go to sleep tonight, it's gonna crawl into your bed.
Shut up.
Dum dum dum.
And then it's gonna bite you, and then you're gonna turn into it.
Why was it on me though? I don't like when bugs are on. I have no problem with bugs.
Apparently you do.
But she could become a superhero if
I don't want them on me. That's all I ask for is just don't crawl on me. Oh, there. Oh, I found it. Okay. It's like a flying ant. Huge.
Oh, like a big drone ant.
Picture. Yeah, hold on. I'll take
you better hope that you don't have carpenter ants.
Hold on.
Carpenter ants. Get your place sprayed for carpenter ants.
All right, well, let me kill it. There we go. Ugh.
Wow, that was live murder.
Did we just hear the crunch?
Yeah, that was I bought a new cord for my headphones, and so I
used strangled it with the cord for your headphones.
No, I used the box to smack it off the wall. I smacked it with the box. Here, I took a picture of it.
Wow, this is just getting more and more bloody. We started the show with cannibalism, and we ended with snuff. Welcome to CCP. Makes humans horrible.
That was I don't think that's an ant. Their legs are kind of too long. It's something else. Where's the smashed version?
It's in the carpet.
Okay.
I'll pick it up later, probably, or the cats laid it. One of the two.
Yeah, it's not a carpenter ant, guys, but it was a big bug, a beetle of some nature. So yeah, there we go.
There, you guys got live murder.
You got a crunch. At least I heard a crunch on the headphones. I don't know what the rest of you heard. So we got about 8 minutes left. What do we want to do? We want to roll around the one last thing kind of thing?
Yeah, I think that's about.
All right. Well, let's start with you, Caleb. Let's get your one last thing.
Well, I must say that I am slightly looking forward to at least our shows in the next 6 months, because we will be seeing these things coming out from CCP that might actually be worth commenting on. I hope we won't have reason to be too angry, and maybe they will actually provide something useful. So I'm a little bit excited. And of course, normalcy in the real world means that I'm going back to uni, and that's going to be nice. So maybe all this horror show is over.
Speaking of horror show, I love someone's comment in Twitch shows, using a garrote on a carpenter ant. What a way to start my Saturday.
All right, what's your one last thing, Don?
So my last thing is A, Billy, I want my Rorqual. Thank you. B is I hope everybody has a good day. Hopefully meta shows in an hour or so. So hopefully Brisk entertains us today. And then Test is next.
Test is next. The McLeod. What's up, brother?
I mean, I've had a kind of an interesting week, to be honest, because I had a live stream that blew up. That ended up with around 2,500 fucking people watching.
Oh wow! Congrats, bro.
Yeah, I know it went a little bit kind of crazy, and in kind of the sort of same fashion, the next kind of shows obviously didn't do as well, but like we stepped it up a gear in terms of the amount of people kind of checking mine and Commander Aza's sort of new project out, open, which is the New World Order show.
New World Order show. When's it on?
It's not a kind of a regular thing. We tend to do it somewhat ad hoc.
Okay.
When there's news and stuff about, but like some of the VODs there are actually pretty good. Like the VOD from I think it was Wednesday, like 2 or 3 days ago. It actually has like almost 12,000 views, which is insane because that's the equivalent amount of VOD views as the meta show's Happy VB Day.
There you go.
Which like
VB Day.
which is just insane. Like to me, that's just absolutely insane. But like, I don't know whether we deserve it or not. But
I'm sure you do.
Seem to like it. People seem to like it, so that's fair enough. But I personally am looking forward to the meta show today. So
it'll be good.
It should be good.
Can I just chime in? I just linked the New World Order thing and just mention one thing because I've been mentioning this many times over the many years that I've been playing EVE Online. Every other MMO out there have never managed to do anything interesting when it comes to things like markets and trade and industry, in my personal opinion. Especially the fact that none of them ever have copied what is called a broker exchange trade system, right? So basically how commodities are traded in the real world with order depth and buy and sell orders and price finding and all that stuff. None of these games have ever done that except for EVE Online. Finally, someone has actually managed to copy that because as far as I know, New World is the first game ever to do an actual broker exchange trade system in another MMO.
Well, I'm not 100% certain on it, but like praise from you is always welcome in that regard.
Well, I'm not necessarily praising it. I'm just saying that it is fascinating to see that finally someone said, "Okay, wait a minute. If you want actual trade to be a thing in a game that makes it a real economy, you need this system to do price finding. This is how you need to trade." Yeah. And no one has done it before New World. It was only EVE Online. They completely have been sitting on this secret sauce forever, and no one noticed. And it's funny to finally see someone at least copying that.
All right, okay.
No. I was just agreeing with Caleb.
Okay. So my one last thing is, remember, as we all, some people are going back to the office and things like that. Remember, you all have whiteboards and you all have Sharpies, right?
I don't know how I'm feeling about where this is going.
The moment the dum-dum in the office uses the Sharpie on the whiteboard, you can be the hero.
Wait! I know how to solve this.
You just take a paper towel with a little coffee.
Out of the hole where the Sharpie goes, please. Yeah.
You just put a little coffee on the paper towel and just wipe it across, and it will go away. And everybody will be sitting in their seats in the meeting room, going, "Wow, that's amazing!
How is this possible?
How is it possible?"
Like
you don't care. You don't care.
The one.
You, viewer of this show, you guys can be the hero.
Okay. Don't listen to that hack. So how it actually works is you use rubbing alcohol, and it'll break down the bonds on the liquid without damaging your stuff.
But so in the meeting, you're more likely to have coffee and not rubbing alcohol.
But coffee's an acid. Rubbing
I don't know.
Face.
Depending on how bad the meeting is, like you could have a alcohol on top.
Oh, wait.
Rubbing alcohol. It's got to be high enough concentration. You can't
let me go in my backpack and get my handy dandy spare rubbing alcohol that I take to every.
You know what? Maybe you want to go blind. Who knows?
Coffee.
You might have some in some first aid kits.
Coffee.
We're just discussing how strong your alcohol at your meetings needs to be now.
I bring mimosas to my meetings. That's
I don't think that's strong.
Mimosas and mimosas, flip flops and Hawaiian shirts.
I work at home. I could be sipping margaritas literally all day and doing Patron shots if I wanted to.
Oh, by the way, can I just get one thing in before we finish completely?
You had one thing already.
I know, but this is a public service notice.
Okay.
Actual Eve meets are starting to happen again. So keep your eyes peeled and check out Reddit posts and CCP announcements and all that stuff, because we've just had at least 2 or 3 that out in the wild. So we had Finfleet, and there was some shenanigans with where the Mittani had some fun. These things are happening now. Well, I'm not going to call it normalcy, but we're going to get Vegas. And then later there's going to be some London meet, most likely. So these things are happening now. So keep your eyes peeled. Yeah. We are getting back to seeing our nerd friends.
Yay!
All right.
Yay.
Meta showed an hour. You guys be there. Don't miss it. It's going to be great, because it always is. Brisk.
Yeah, I heard
mittens are great.
I heard Finfleet was a blast.
Yes, pictures.
Pictures are.
There's some pictures.
Yep. By the way, quick shout out. Thank you to everybody who did follows, subscriptions, and all that stuff. It's hard to call them out throughout the show because we're, in our own world, and we ignore it, and we're sorry. But thank you anyway for doing it. All right, everybody, you have a great weekend, and we are out of here.
Are we clear?
No, you're still on sound. I'm intentionally leaving it on sound so they can hear all the secret squirrel shit over the ending thing.
Okay. Caleb!
Cut him off!